everybody. How are you? See, I'm getting better and better at this. I'm so excited. I'm so excited about tonight. Even after I posted, there was things that were being downloaded um, that I may change it up a bit, but know that it is Healing Tuesday, and I am excited. One of the things I'm going to ask you to do is if you are watching this after the show, and I'm calling it a show because my friends be like, I caught part of your show. I'm like, what show? You mean my live? I'll go with it. I want you to type replay in the box. And if you are watching, share this out because tonight I'm going to take us backwards. We're going to go from being an adult, some of the things that we're doing, to how we got here and how we grew up in fatherless homes and coping with disorder now has us living out negative behaviors and patterns. I have asked everyone from my Instagram to jump over here, either through LinkedIn, through Facebook, or YouTube. We are streaming live through all three of those platforms tonight. And I know some people have asked me, why are you putting this on LinkedIn? I put it on LinkedIn. I know it's a professional. People feel like it's professional and it's career driven. But here's the thing. There are so many fatherless individuals who we have, as I talked about a few weeks ago, we have outperformed the negative statistics, but not the behaviors. So we have success in our careers. We have success in education. We have success in this professional world, but we lack it in the mental and emotional spaces that we live in. And so I want to always be the person that helps you connect the dots to your pain or of your pain when it comes to your fatherless journey. That is who I am. Just to kind of go through that, I am Dr. Torri J. I am the founder and CEO of this magnificent organization called the Fatherless Generation Foundation. And I am excited about what we're doing, how we're expanding, how we're growing. You will soon see me step away from executive director. I've been working on this for years. I now have an assistant who we are putting everything in place to ensure that that happens. Automations and everything that needs to go along with that. And so I am doing this work, have been doing this work for 13 years. I want to make sure my phone is turned down because I'm about to put this. Yeah. That's Miss Ingrid. Okay. I was like, who is this talking to me? Hey, Darren, how are you? I've been doing this work for 13 years. We started with the children, working with them in peer groups. We started making sure that children had the coping mechanisms and thriving mechanisms that they needed. And there was something that came up this week when I was sitting with one of the ladies that has really pulled me into the YMCA here in South Florida. I did not want another peer group, but you know what? It has been the best opportunity that I've had in a long time. I know you maintain it. I got your text messages. Darren is one of my coaching clients. And so I recognize that as we were talking this week, the children in our peer groups don't have fathers in the home. And yes, we teach them coping skills. We teach them how to feel with cognitive behavior techniques. But one of the key things that I need to work on before we relaunch some of these peer groups in the next few weeks, got a new spot too today. So excited in Chicago. Let's go. We need to give them some of the features, some of the things that dads do, right? If we're going to help develop children, we need to step into that dad space, that self-development space in which dads would really provide for their children. So I'm going to go through and really look at some of those things and talk to the men on my board. And we're gonna add some elements because it's key. It's key to what we need to do. Now, I had some things prepared for tonight, but I want to tell you, something else just dropped in my spirit when I was out, just going to get my dinner. And I said, gosh, I felt very deeply that coping with disorder, I'm always talking from this adult space on Tuesday nights, but I'm going to back you into talking to you from the child space. It stays on. Love you too, Miss Ingrid. It stays on there. I want to show you what coping skills are. I want to talk to you about role reversal when mother becomes mother and father, parentification, self isolation as a coping mechanism, and mental health injury. I do want to talk to you about those things that I listed, but I want to talk to you about those things from a child's perspective, right? I want to talk to you about those things because this is where we develop them. This is where we gathered information and said, this is what I have to do to keep myself safe. It's funny how we grow up and we start having habits and things that, that play out in our journey. Like I said, some of us are successful. We have great careers. We have amazing just relationships with friends, maybe. We have these aspects of our lives where we've done great with getting all these degrees. But you know what we haven't done? We haven't been really successful in the space of relationships. I heard Bishop T.D. Jakes, and that's one of the places, Darren, I'm going to go tonight. I'm going to play that video, that clip where he talks about the masculine side. I want to talk about that a little bit tonight because I do believe that that's one of the areas that we're struggling in. But he said something tonight, or when I was listening to something he said, we can't deal with husbands, ladies, because we didn't have daddies. And men, you can't be a father because you were never fathered. Bishop Jakes dropped some nuggets that day. I think it was a Father's Day, his Father's Day message. Incredible. Something you need to listen to. A lot of people saw the clip and a lot of women got upset. And I'm thinking, this is why we cannot progress. This is why we're not able to tackle fatherlessness the way that we need to, because even the conversation I'm about to have with you, coping with disorder, that's a struggle for you, because what I'm doing right here is calling your household, your single parent household, disorder, dysfunctional. And many of you are going to stand up and say, that's not true, so on and so forth. It is true. It is true. But we're going to get there tonight, okay? I want to talk to you about coping mechanism. I normally have it on my computer, but I'm going to just go off my phone. I am not. Tonight is going to be candid, raw. So just be ready, as some people say. Be ready. When it comes to coping refers to the conscious and or unconscious strategies used to reduce unpleasant emotions. I'm just going to stop right there. It is the conscious and unconscious strategies used to reduce unpleasant emotions. As adults, this is what we've done. An emotion comes up, we feel some kind of way, we turn to alcohol, we turn to drugs, we turn to sex. Oh yeah, fatherless individuals, you heard me say this before. Fatherless individuals are highly sexual, over the top sexual, but it's to cover up. I can't wait to record my podcast this weekend. One of the topics I've moved into this conversation, because I had a few prepared for last month, but got sick and had to postpone it. But there's been some fatherless sons out here behaving badly, and I'm going to name them tonight. I'm about to talk about it because it is from their father wound that they're behaving this way. But we as women experience this behavior, and it traumatizes us. Pastor John Gray has now been in a situation again. And at one point in time, that was a friend of mine, like very close friend of mine. And I saw some things, but I was just like, child, that ain't me. And I would pray and we would have discussions about it. We talked about it. And I was like, that ain't it. And I was one of the people who at some point held him accountable. And I don't really talk about that, but I'm going to talk about it tonight. Just in this moment, I'm not going to get into deep conversation about it, but fatherless sons are out here behaving badly. Neo, him and his wife just through some extravagant situation, renewing their vows 8 years or whatever the year is in. They had already filed for divorce, reconciled through this extravagant thing. And now it's him cheating, him this, him. And I said, good God. And we had just heard him talk about something where he said he would never want to know if his wife was cheating on him and so on and so forth. And people were like, what? So that raised some red flags. Fatherless sons are out here behaving badly, like badly. And it's traumatizing the women and in turn traumatizing the children. Now, ladies, I'm not letting you off the hook because you are out here behaving. Fatherless daughters are out here behaving badly as well. Poor decision making. I'm so independent. I don't need a man, as I've said before, because you become one. Child, help us. It's because what you're doing is you are relying on the coping mechanisms that you put in place as a child. And once you become an adult, guess what happens to those coping mechanisms? They're still intact. They're still in place. It's why people can't get in. Hey, Miss Novella. It's why people can't get into your heart, into your space, because you've learned to guard your emotions, because it's how you protect yourself from unpleasant emotions. You don't want to experience heartbreak. It's why you can break up with somebody and disappear like it was nothing, like they meant nothing. And it's devastating to the person on the other side, but it's one of the ways you have learned to cope. So I need to be clear as I go through the different things that I want to talk to you about tonight. Coping mechanism is this place of conscious and unconscious. My God, we've buried so much in our unconsciousness, subconscious, that we don't even realize it until we're triggered. And we may not even recognize that we're being triggered or where that trigger's foundation lies. We may not realize that. We may not comprehend it. We may not understand it. But much of it is, the foundation of it is in your childhood. It's rooted in your childhood and your childhood pain. And we have to do the work to fix this. We have to do the work to overcome this pain. You guys have no idea how fatherlessness has created so much of the negative behaviors and patterns that we're watching fatherless sons and fatherless daughters actually play out in public. I don't think you guys really know how many celebrities, singers, actors, when you see them in a headline, do you realize their background? Do you realize, because I immediately go, aren't they fatherless? And I get on Google looking like, there it is again. You do not, y'all just see it as Wendy Williams is doing, it's hot topics. Yeah, it's hot topics, all right. It's fatherless pain manifesting. Do you really think that all these men are just out here just cheating? Like, why are men cheating like this? Like, what is that about? Because they're looking for their manhood because a man never told them that that's who they were. And they've bought the lie, and they were molded with the lie that in society that it says you can have multiple women and you're sowing your wild oats and you're doing all this stuff. And all you're doing, as we talked about last week, is you're allowing a woman to take your strength and destroy your kingdom that God intended you to build. Come on, somebody. You don't realize it because you bought the lie and you've been molded by it. And then I've had this conversation with someone recently. Monogamy is not what God intended. It's not what, look, y'all want to throw that out there, but you don't want to be honest about the fact that if you are not supposed to be monogamous and you're supposed to have multiple wives, then if you're supposed to have multiple wives and multiple women in your life, then that means that you're supposed to be able to take care of them equally, love them equally, 100%, provide for them and the children equally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. And too many of you are too broke to even take care of the one wife you got. So I need you guys to stop throwing around the monogamous thing, because part of that is your way of escaping. And you think that because you're saying these things that I'm supposed to go, oh yeah, yep, that's true. That's true. Yep. Man ain't supposed to have one wife. You guys can't even take care of the one you have because you're still so focused on taking care of the mother that you still see as your wife. Oh, Jesus. I'm sorry. I'm somewhere else. But let me go here because I can slide into that place. My second point tonight is the role reversal. I know some of you are like, wait a minute. Where does she go with this? Where does she go? I thought she was talking about coping with disorder. I am. And having your mother be your wife, your mother, your father, your best friend is role reversal in the worst way. And it is how you've had to cope with this disorder. It's how you had to cope with disorder. Now, backing into this once again from a child's perspective, when my mother becomes my mother and my father, I become confused about what my role as a woman looks like. And I become confused if I'm a man about what a woman's role and a mother's role looks like. And then I ask myself as a man, what am I supposed to be doing? Where do I fit into this? I've seen a few posts throughout the last year or so where women have laughed and said, these men out here want to be treated like girls. Have you ever considered that partially that comes from the fact that that's what their mother taught them to be and do? I have a podcast that's coming out this Thursday, and I added a clip today. And the clip, and I want to cue this up too. And this is not, I'm talking about one thing, but I'm going to cue up another thing. The clip was talking about, I do not want this to play while we're on here, because I know I have a tendency to do something like that. The clip was Mr. Sean Lovings, and he was talking about how mothers, this modern day mom, this new day mom, not the old school mom, this modern mom, she has poured into her daughters, but not her sons, but then expect her sons to know what to do and punish them when they don't know what to do. I was shocked. I was like, whoa. And he was speaking about how single mothers need to position their children, their sons, to win by putting them around other men, not other men, but putting them around men. Because too often, I always say, there are no men in the village. And when there are men in the village, this is something I've recognized recently as well. When there are men in the village, guess what? The men are fatherless as well. So those men don't have the developmental skills either as to what a man is supposed to be. They've gleaned it themselves. They've gleaned as well. Okay, I want to make sure I have this on mute. Yep, there we go. They've gleaned it as well. And so you're learning from somebody who learned from the streets or from, trial and error, and you're still supposed to know what to do. The role reversal is very challenging for us as fatherless children. When we have a mother who's a mother and a father, we don't really know what that looks like when I become an adult and I'm supposed to be a woman. I'm supposed to be a woman, and then I'm supposed to be a mother. I'm supposed to be a man, and I'm supposed to be a father. But I watch my mother mix the two. How am I supposed to do that? And then we start saying things like, in this world, the old days, roles are out. These different roles don't matter. But I can tell you they do. Being married, there were certain things that we just naturally did. My husband would do, Vark would do the dishes. Most people would say, well, that's a woman's role. That's what I'm saying. There's some things that we would just naturally do. I didn't like washing the dishes every day. Like, that's not a thing. That was something he would wash and fold the clothes on the same day. Like, what? If I'm going to wash clothes, they're not going to be folded on the same day. I promise you they're not. But then I'm cleaning the house. Like, I'm the person who cleans. Then it came down to bills and budgeting, and we just did what naturally came to us. But here's the thing. There are other parts of life and roles that are bigger than cooking and cleaning. And we tend to focus on those things when we're talking about roles in a household. But roles are bigger than that. Roles are about leadership, and roles are about when I lead, when do I lead, and when does he lead? When do I follow, and when does he follow? And what are we following? Who's the prayer warrior? And I know we say the man is the head in the household and he does these, but I'm gonna tell you, the women are the intercessors in ways that I think men do it. I know men do it, but it's just different. So I don't want you to get confused when I say role reversal, that I'm just talking about cooking and cleaning. I'm talking about you supposed to be submissive. No, I'm telling you that when you're in a single parent home, there becomes a place of confusion because you've watched your mother do it all. And men are trying to figure out, where do I fit in? Because the daughter watched her mother do it all and she's got this space of independence and she doesn't need a man for anything. And we have to find our way to go, okay, I don't need you, but I want you. I'm in a place now where I'm like, I don't want to be needed or wanted. I want to be desired. And that's a conversation that's being had. I want to be desired in a certain type of way. Y'all got to hear me on that. I'll have to teach that later. But I want to play this video so we can get, because I'm looking at my time. I'm already 25 minutes in. Yeah, it's 9:20. Okay, hold on. Let me share my screen. Women got upset about this thing. Jesus. Share. Okay, it's on the screen.
This breaks all sociological orders of the culture we're living in now. Because we are raising up women to be men. And you are not applauded for your femininity. You are applauded in the contemporary society by how tough, rough, nasty, mean, aggressive, hateful, possessive you are, and you are climbing the corporate ladder, but we are losing our families. I know you can buy your own car. I know you can buy your own house. But until you create a need that I can pour into, I have no place in your life. So stop coming home bragging to me about how much you don't need me and wonder why I shy away. Oh, y'all ain't gonna talk back to me this morning.
Oh man, so
I'm gonna leave that there because I'm not gonna let him. I don't want his commentary. Did you hear that? We have become raised. We have been raised to be masculine. And the reason I'm bringing that in at this point is because that's the space where we've been raised to be masculine, watching our mother be mother and father. I get what my friend Sean Lovings was saying on my show. You pour into your daughters and you're toughening them up. You're making them strong. You're telling them you can't depend on a man. You've got to. And moms, what you've done is you have created this space of role reversal, but you've also made your children take on your emotions and your pain and your trauma, your daughters. And so they're built tough, built strong. Like isn't that a Ford truck? That's what we like. We building girls so tough and so strong that they don't need anybody. It's not just a man. They don't need anyone. They don't know how to ask for help. They've become super women. And here it is. Then they tired. And I ain't gonna lie to you. It's exhausting to be all of those things. I never signed up for being those things. He even said, Bishop T.D. Jakes even said, we have not been celebrated for our femininity. Because when we watch our mothers become mother and father, we've experienced her more as a father. We've experienced her more as a father, which is this tough love, this tough exterior, this masculine energy, this masculine presence, than we have her femininity. And he says it's because it's not applauded. You watch, Housewives, some of my guilty pleasures. You watch some of this reality TV stuff, and the women who are applauded, the women who seem to get the higher checks are the ones who are very masculine, confrontational, like to fight. Like that's the thing. And when you look at them, oh my God, they're fatherless. I told you guys last week, one of the shows that I love is Real Housewives of Potomac. But what I recognize is the one who's fighting. Woo, she can fight, child. She can fight. And then act like, well, I didn't touch nobody, but she's tearing people up with her words. That Miss Candace, my God, she's like the size, like she might weigh a $105, but she comes with it. And here's the challenge. She comes with it with her words in her mouth because she grew up fatherless. I remember watching her have her father at the wedding and her mother got upset. Oh, how dare you bring this man and his cheating ways into into your wedding? And then she said mine because she was paying for it. How dare you do that? Made her daughter feel guilty for wanting her father to be present. And her mother's very masculine. We've never seen the man she's married to, thank God, because I'm sure there would be judgment. But I need you to know that that role reversal, where a mother is no longer nurturing, she just becomes the disciplinarian, and she becomes the thing that we then lean on and say, okay, my mother's going to pour into me. And what she's pouring into me is never need a man. And a son is watching that. And he's trying to figure out where he fits. And then she makes him docile, and she makes him effeminate in ways. And that's not every household. But let me say something that I always say, because I do like what this lady has said. And some people, she's been controversial for years. What is her name? Shahraz Ali. She says it, and I believe it. I've witnessed it. When you were raised in a fatherless home, what happens too often for boys is you are a male. Once you become an adult, you're a male in this body that processes like a woman. Hey, Clyde, how are you? You process like a woman because that's the only way you've learned how to process. And so then when I come into contact with you and I'm expecting you to process like a man, I'm confused. I heard my friend Jack Daniels, he did a video recently, and he did this video where he was talking about a woman just wants to sit in the passenger seat and ride. But she's got to know that you got it. She's got to know that you gonna make the best decisions. You're not gonna tear up the car. You're not gonna run y'all into anything. You got it. Because the moment you don't have it, she's gonna show up and be the man. See, a woman learned how to, she saw the feminine side a bit in her home, but she also knew how to step in and get it like her mother did. And so it's easy for us because we have been raised, as Bishop T.D. Jakes is saying, very masculine. We know how to jump right into that role. We know how to show up as the man if we need to be. That is not good. I want to sit in all my feminine. I want to bat my eyelashes and enjoy my life, not devoid of work and purpose, not absent of stress. That's not real. But I want to be able to lean in and lean on my husband in the midst of us pursuing purpose, building legacy, and enjoying life. But the problem is you're constantly competing and fighting because you don't even know your role. And we as women, men, you don't know your role and we don't know ours because we've been brought up in confusion. I titled this Coping with Disorder, partially because here's the challenge. When you are birthed in chaos, how then do you create order? When you're birthed in disorder, out of wedlock, broken homes, you're being raised in broken homes where there's not a father, there's not a father figure. You have no idea what that looks like. Some of us have been overly nurtured. We don't know what discipline looks like and rules. We don't have boundaries set up. So it becomes this challenge of figuring it out as an adult. And some of us aren't even trying to figure it out. You know why? Because we believe that how we were raised was good. See, reality TV has become the thing that I lean to. And yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm just telling y'all. And there's only a couple of shows. Don't get it twisted. I don't spend my day watching TV. I don't have time for that. But I heard a young lady. There's 3 housewives I watch. I'm gonna just keep it real. Real Housewives of Potomac, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and Real Housewives of Dubai. I'm checking it out. And there's a girl on there. She was Jamaican, born and raised, and it's just out of Boston. And I think it's Jamaican. And it's just horrible. She's masculine. She's aggressive. She's always fighting. Once again, we are always fighting. How we cope with disorder is anger. One of the emotions we have. Men, you aren't the only ones angry. I know we try to make fatherless sons the only ones who are angry, but the ladies are very angry. And it comes out in their parenting. It comes out in their relationships. Just turn on the TV. Just turn on the TV. Constantly fighting. And don't let them be in a situation where they don't have a mother or a father. My God, it is nuclear all the time. It goes from 0 to nuclear all the time. But this young lady, someone challenged her on, and it was it was a lady from, I want to say she was Pakistani and Middle Eastern descent. And she said, you need to have more, like, you need to do things a little different with your son, I think is how she said it, or something like that. Like, you need to be close. That's what she said. You need to be closer to him. And she went from zero to nuclear. Why? Because she was triggered. How my mother raised me, and tough love is how it was supposed to be. And anyone watching, I can't wait for the reunion. And I pray they bring that up and they're not afraid to touch it, because she's going to go nuclear. Because that's another thing we do. When someone wants to bring up something and confront us and tell us who we are, we immediately go nuclear on them so they can back up and not talk to us about it. But here's the thing. She's not raising her son correctly. She's raising him, as she put it, how my mother raised me. And even the mother was like, well, it wasn't perfect. It wasn't the best, but she's taken that on, because what happens is you were birthed in chaos and trauma and you have not healed from it. And so now what are you doing? You're raising your children from that same place while you're repeating the cycle. You don't have any other tools to pull from. You can't pull from a place that's not been poured into. You can't pull from a place that you didn't get anything from. So you're pulling from what you've received, because the pride of so many of us in this fatherless space is we can't hear outside voices directing us in a different direction. We don't go get the books all the time on how to parent better. That's not what we do. We don't get the books. How about this? We don't get the books on how to heal our inner childhood trauma. I had a client tell me the other day, she's not even a client. I'm sorry. It was a young lady I was talking to from church. She walked up to me, asked me to pray for her. Called her a client. She ain't even a client. She walked up to me after church, and I could see it all over her. That's just a gift that I have. And I could tell that there were things happening. So she texted me, thank you for your prayers, so on and so forth. This is what I'm dealing with. And we went into that conversation, right? And while I'm talking to her, I want to say it was Sunday night. While I'm talking to her, I'm hearing her in this place of very much so, boom, boom. It's just, it wasn't emotional, like going through divorce, trauma after trauma after trauma. And all I hear is, and I've done this, but I've done this talking to people, but people don't realize I process the pain too. And I feel it. You got to heal. You got to feel to heal. And she was just talking from God and I have spoken, God and I have talked, God and I have done this, God and I have done. And I know I've done this with people. And I kept saying, okay, what have you done? Like, what work have you done to help heal yourself? Have you gone to therapy through this journey? Oh, no. This is what she said to me. And it took her a moment to even connect with the emotion of what I was saying. It goes back to the role reversal and how it's impacting sons and daughters, Mom, when you become mother and father. They don't feel like they can feel. They don't feel like they can actually deal with the pain that they're experiencing, because that shows a sign of weakness. This woman finally, I was grilling her for like 15 minutes until she actually was realizing I was asking her to connect to her emotions. See, when you watch that, you don't get to connect to your emotions very well. I'm at 9:33. I got to get to my points, but I want to share this story for it. There's a reason for it. When we finally got to that place where she could have the conversation, she says, I've never done that. I don't do that. She said, that's a sign of weakness. I can't break down because of my children. She couldn't break down. See, that's coping with disorder. She's holding it all together while she's being destroyed on the inside. You think holding it together on the outside isn't having an impact on your inside? You are sadly mistaken. You are fooling yourself. She was holding it together for her children. But what you don't realize is when you're doing that, you're unconsciously parenting from your trauma. You're unconsciously parenting from the pain that you feel. And what you're doing is you're creating another generation that will repeat this cycle and this pattern. I want to go to the place of parentification. Many of you may not know what that is. But one of the ways that a fatherless home, I've been talking about individuals, I've been talking about mothers really and how they've coped, and children how we have then coped from our parents, our mothers coping, right? I want to talk to you about how fatherless homes cope when not having a father present, right? How many of you are the oldest in the household? How many of you are the child that's the oldest? And so what happened when dad left or you got of a certain age, you became the man of the house. And that goes for daughters as well. The roles get switched then as well. So when daddy leaves, mom becomes mother and father, but then she has someone in the home that is raising the children while she's working, while she's out doing what she needs to do to provide for the family. That's called parentification. That is when a child's role reversal or parentification or parent, I want to read this right. A child's role reversal is the process of role reversal whereby a child or an adolescent is obliged to act as a parent to their own parent or siblings. I never read that part about their own parent. So it's a child role reversal. And this is the process of role reversal whereby a child or adolescent is obliged, asked, I need you to step into this role. It's typically asked. It's almost like a knight, like, you know, when you knight someone, like, I'm making you man of the house. I need you to take care of your siblings. It's a request, right? To act as a parent to their own parent or sibling or siblings. That is normal in an African American household. Somebody's going to be the mother. Someone's going to be the father. Have y'all never noticed that? When I say mother, you're the one, you're the parent. If you're the child, you've been parentified to be the mother. Let's say you've been parentified to be the mother. You provide the emotional support and stability for the household and the nurturing. If you have been parentified to be the father, you're the one who's going out and making the money, providing for the household. It's why you see so many young men who find themselves in juvenile and things of that nature, especially in certain inner city cities. There's a challenge there where you become the kid on the block who has to sell drugs or do certain things in order to provide for the home because your dad isn't there. And then what happens when your mother is on drugs and your dad isn't there, or your dad, both parents are on drugs, and you become the provider and a level of emotional support. That happened in the 80s and 90s. And now those men are of a certain age and women are trying to date them and they're like, no, thank you. You got to know their foundation and you need to know the history. You need to know how they got there. That parentification is how so many of us had to cope with disorder in our home and dysfunction. We became the other parent. A fatherless home always has to have someone fill in, and it makes not only your life dysfunctional, but it makes your upbringing traumatic and traumatizing and all of these things that maybe you didn't even look at it that way. But I'm telling you, these things are traumatizing to us as individuals. Our mothers did what they had to do, and we stepped in and stepped up. But in stepping in and stepping up as a child to be a parent, to be an adult, without the development, without the knowledge and the wisdom, all it does is impact us later on in life. You want to know why she's immature, he's immature? They've had to be an adult their entire lives. Or look at it this way. They didn't get the development they needed in order to show up. They didn't get the development they needed in order to mature. It was learn as you go, trial and error, and that's all it was. There's a specific, and as they learned, as they went, when mom came home, I remember I isolated myself a little bit. I wanted to go in my room. I had a lock on my door at one point. I did. How you get a lock on your door as a kid, as a teenager? I needed that lock on the door. My brother was annoying at times. He just bust in, boom. I have a younger brother, 7.5 years younger than me. And at a certain time, he was that little brother, bust in, right? I had a lock on my door. and it stayed locked a lot of time. It did. Because there were times when I just needed my peace. But some of you, were you latchkey kids? See, that's a thing. That's called neglect and abuse now. But remember growing up in the 80s and 90s? You came home, you cooked, you cleaned, you cooked for your siblings, you did homework, you did all those things, and we called it latchkey kid. I heard a lady recently, she's been talking about the baby boomers. She's a therapist on TikTok. Woo! She's been eating these baby boomers up. She's been eating y'all up. You did the best that you could. Wasn't good enough. You're selfish as baby boomers. All these things she's been saying. But one of the things that she said that I thought was like mind-blowing was she was discussing this whole idea of being a latchkey kid. Who knows how to fry chicken, like clean, season, and fried chicken at 7 in order to provide for your siblings? Does that even sound right? Like, we're talking about hot grease. We're talking about salmonella. We're talking about a lot of things that can harm kids. And a lot of young kids in the 80s and 90s, I'm going to say the 70s, 80s, and 90s, were able to do that. These fatherless homes were able to do that. And we coped with disorder. We coped with disorder. We coped with disorder by role reversals. We coped with disorder by parentification. We coped with disorder with self-isolation and this coping mechanism. And so when you do that now as an adult, you're doing it as a way to hide your pain away from everyone else in your life. You need to go isolate. Sometimes that's good. Don't pop off. Go self-isolate. But some of you use that as a weapon in your relationships, and no one can get in. I did send it to the lady that I had the conversation with because that was one of the things that came up in our conversation. I sent this link when I was looking at self-isolation, and I sent it to her saying, this is one of the coping mechanisms that you've leaned very hard on. And it's devastating you. It's hindering your relationships. It's causing dysfunction and disorder in the relationships you have. That self-isolation, you don't let people in. The only way you can process your own hurt and pain is by self-isolation, and you do it from your immature, myopic perspective that is undeveloped, that was not developed in your home. You haven't read anything outside of that, and you're still trusting in your negative patterns and behaviors. And so what you do is you go and you self-isolate and you say, yep, that was the right thing to do. Because once again, it's a coping mechanism, and it's simply a conscious and unconscious way to protect you from unpleasant emotions. And it makes you feel good about yourself without any other person speaking to your blind spot, without anyone else telling you that's not how that's supposed to go. You need certain people in your life to help you through that journey. You need certain people in your life to help you with that. But because you're coping with disorder, you've learned how to do this on your own. You've learned how to deal with your emotions on your own. The last one I want to get into, because my time is winding down really quick. I'm at 9:43. Fatherlessness is a mental health injury. And when you don't heal it, it becomes a mental health crisis. And if you don't fix the crisis, you will be in full mental health diagnosis. Like, that's where you're going to go. There are people who are walking around with fatherless issues and have no idea that they're bipolar, have no idea they're living in depression, have no idea that they have behavioral disorders, have no idea that they have multiple personalities, have no idea that they have borderline personality disorders, because you have seen this. And this is the last part that I want to talk about tonight. Your coping mechanisms, you see them as normal. You see the fatherless upbringing that you had as normal. And part of that has to do with the fact of something that I have been wrestling with and struggling with since I saw the Asian gentleman rattling off. He's just simply reading the statistics that I live by and work by and have been doing this work, because of. And everyone's going, who's this? What is he? Oh, we need to get to know him. What are you trying to meet him for? Like, what? Huh? He's reading, like, Anybody in the fatherless space, no offense to the gentleman. I'm grateful that he did. But he's just reading them. And you guys are thoroughly impressed with him reading them. Here's the thing. I realize that so many of us are in denial about the statistics and have been until this man has spoken about these statistics in the way that has caught your attention. And one of the reasons we have struggled with acknowledging the negative statistics associated with fatherlessness is because if we say that we need our fathers, if we say that this has happened to us because we didn't have our fathers in the home, it makes us question, it makes the question, let me say this right. It puts in question, are our mothers enough? And we don't want to go down that hole, that rabbit hole. We don't want to go down that trail because we don't know where it's going to end up. The truth is, you were created in chaos. And so you struggle with creating order. You struggle with it. You were conceived, that's how I want to say it. You were conceived in chaos, so you struggle birthing order. You struggle. You struggle, and you struggle acknowledging you needed both parents. Well, my dad cheated on my mom, and my dad did this, but aren't you cheating on your girlfriend? Well, my dad did this. Didn't you do that too, though? Maybe if you had him around, he could have spoken to that and kept you from walking down that path. See, some stuff is DNA. I need you guys to understand that there's nothing about fatherlessness that is normal. There's nothing about this situation that is not disorder, dysfunctional, mental health injury, mental health trauma. There is nothing about it that's not. You having to cope as a kid is traumatizing, it's painful, and it's hurtful. And I'm sorry that you had to go through that. I'm sorry that we had to go through that. I'm sorry that our parents had to go through that. Because some of you had parents who went through that. My mother grew up in a 2-parent household, but there was dysfunction there. My father grew up in a 2-parent household, but his mother, his birth mother, his biological mother, died when he was a toddler, and he was raised by his stepmother. I don't know what that journey was like. I can't tell you. I don't know that. I probably could ask my bonus mother. That may be something I want to pull on her and ask her about. But I can't imagine what it was like for my father to have lost his mother at such a young age, having his father in the home, but was his bonus mother as loving and as kind as my father's widow is to me? To my other siblings who are her stepchildren, but she just calls us all her children? I don't know the answer to that. We have to learn these things, though. And that's why I said I may call her. Probably going to call her after I get off some of my stuff because she stays up late. I call her at 12 o'clock. She's still up. At 76 years old, she be up. And we have these talks that bless me. You have to be able to ask your parents questions so that you know the negative patterns and behaviors of your family. And if you choose not to ask, then you're going to be left in the dark. And here's the other part. Parents, if your children call you asking, your adult children call you asking you questions, don't lie to them. Don't lie to them telling them that their father and the other kid's father and everybody's father is the same father. Don't do that. Tell them the truth. There's no need to protect who you are at this point. The cat is out of the bag. They've actually experienced so many of your patterns, it's making them go, where's this coming from? And some of you mothers have programmed your children so much that they think everything bad is coming from their fathers and everything good is coming from you. That's a lie. Whole lie. Like, whew, stuff I've had to learn doing this work. My God. I'm not always the champion for women, and women don't like that part because I want us to be accountable. I want us to acknowledge the part that we've played. But we have to first acknowledge that this is traumatizing. That although you have the best job ever, although you are in the greatest career that you could have ever asked God for, you do go home at night and close the door, and you have no one to lean on. You have no one to rely on. You have no one you can call because you haven't cultivated those relationships. Oh, I got people I can call. I'm so grateful. And I want to share this with you guys before I get off of here. It speaks to where we've been tonight, this coping with disorder and what it looks like when you heal, because you can heal this, but you've got to do the work. You've got to do the work to heal this part of your journey. I received an inbox on my Fatherless Generation Foundation IG page today. And it was someone that I knew. He is a pastor. He is a man of God. He has been a chaplain for the Dallas Cowboys. He has been a chaplain for the Kansas City Chiefs. And currently his son has stepped into that legacy. You want to know why the Kansas City Chiefs has been to the Super Bowl and has been winning like crazy? Child's probably these folks that I know that's praying for this team, okay? These people, like, they're just amazing people. And he inboxed me and he said, call me. And he put his number in there as if it's not programmed in my phone already, because it is. And when he got me on the phone, he said, I was just sitting here in my office as a pastor, right? He's sitting at his pastor's desk in his office, waiting for his bride, as he calls her, of 45 years. And if he's watching, just know I appreciated you in ways that I said, but I'm sharing this story because I need to honor you in this way. He said, I was just sitting here at my desk in my office, waiting on my bride. She's cooking dinner for me tonight. You know, he's just very excited. Love that about them. And he said, and the Lord impressed upon my heart to have you call me. And so I got on the phone, and as we're talking about, you know, he said, I just want to tell you, I see you. I see the moves that you're making. And he said, I want to know how you're doing. And I said, I don't remember what I said, but I'm as good as God, whatever that is, right? Because this work is heavy. Whew, I need y'all to know that this isn't easy. It is challenging. And because I'm a woman in this space, men try to challenge me. You guys think you have issues climbing the corporate ladder as women. Imagine coming into a space of fatherlessness. And I'm a fatherless daughter. I belong in this space, but men will try to take you out of this space because they think it belongs to them. Child, please. You don't even have half the success I have. You stole the money, no success. That's to somebody in particular. And he said, I want you to know I see you. As a father, I want to speak to you right now. And I want to tell you that I'm proud of you. I want to tell you you have what it takes, and you're doing this thing. And you're doing it at a high level. And I want you to know that we see you. My bride and I, we see you. We're praying for you. Took me out today because I needed that. My father has passed on, but God is so sovereign that even when we don't have our fathers, ladies and gentlemen, he will send individuals who will father us if we let them, who will father us if we just give them the opportunity in the space. And some of us are so busy protecting our space, we won't let anyone in. And I let him in fully today for about an hour. We talked on the phone, and he shared with me, and I shared some things with him. The love of a father cannot be replaced. It can't be. And I'm grateful that I have men in my life who, as God leads, will call me and give me exactly that. Can't get that from your brothers. You can't get that from your mother. It hits different. It feels different when a man sees you with the eyes of a father. And it's not just about the work that I do. That wasn't all that he talked about. It's about the woman that I am. I'm proud of you, Torri. I'm proud of what I see you doing. I'm proud. When I did the NBA All-Star Weekend, this man showed up. It was in Chicago. He showed up, was on the panel. When I was doing the NBA All-Star or the NFL Super Bowl weekend, his son was here with Kansas City Chiefs in Miami. And because he couldn't make it, he called his son and was like, I need you at this event. And his son was like, Dad, I can't go to that event, but I would love to go, but I can't go. But it was a blessing that he even thought to call his son, who's the chaplain of the Kansas City Chiefs, and say, get over there and help this woman. Because what I'm sharing this with you to let you know that I no longer have to cope with disorder and dysfunction because I've healed. And I've placed individuals in my life who ensure that I show up fully as who I am. And no longer am I coping from an unconscious and subconscious level and conscious level, protecting unpleasant emotions. I feel them, and I have people that I can go talk to, even if that's a therapist. Some of y'all just need to get a therapist. And I have people who pour into me, restoring the areas that I've depleted from doing this work. So while you've been coping with disorder, I want to let you know that I went through those different ones to help highlight and give you some insight as to where some of your weaknesses are and some of the places that you've been coping, so that then you can look at those places with a magnifying glass and say, this isn't working for me, Dr. Torri. I need to fix this. And then you can go fix it. Because the only way you can fix something is by acknowledging that it's there. The only way you can fix the brokenness within you so that your relationships are no longer broken relationship after broken relationship after broken relationship is by acknowledging that it's there and then being accountable to doing what's necessary to heal it. No, the trauma, we didn't inflict our own trauma. It wasn't on us, but it's on us to heal it. It's on us to work through it. It's on us to feel it so that we can heal it. And I want to let you know, yes, I run the Fatherless Generation Foundation. I love what I do, but I do need your help. I won't, this is the part that I'm not. I always forget, and I'm going to put it up here today. I do need your help. We need people to get involved. And in getting involved, that means we need your financial assistance. We need you as corporations to join on and help us with the work that we're doing. We need you to come into the fold, right? We need your support. We need every dollar we can get, and we need every able body that we can get. There is a lot of work that is happening behind the scenes. And I have an event that I have coming up. I'm going to put that in here too. And this is through my new brand, my personal brand, as I start to slide into new spaces. I want to help the fatherless adult continue their healing journey. I want to speak to that. And so I've Got Daddy Issues is a piece or a part of the new Torri J and Company brand. And when I say company, what it is I'm bringing along some of my people, some of my my fitness coaches and therapists and individuals who've poured into my life, but also people that I know who I know can pour into your life. The Torri J and Company is everybody that I know that can help you in this area that I'm bringing to the table. And so I have an event coming up. I need you to register. It's an investment, but it'll be worth every penny that you pay. I've Got Daddy Issues is coming to Sedona, Arizona. Look online, see the flyers, check it out. I am bringing sexologists. I'm bringing relationship and marriage coaches or therapists. I'm bringing the trauma coach who's going to talk to you about the trauma that you've experienced. We're going to talk about the micro and the macro traumas. We're going to get into it because some of you don't even see this as trauma because you're thinking big trauma. You're thinking it's got to be fatherlessness, whether you know it or not, is a big trauma. It's a big one. It's so big, all the other ones start falling underneath it. You have no idea. But I've Got Daddy Issues retreat is in Sedona, Arizona on the 23rd through the 27th of this month. You only have a few more days to register, but there's only a few spots for this. It's a very intimate retreat curated specifically to bring you to a place where we're connecting the dots of your pain and giving you the tools to heal. That is who I am. And I'm going to continue to pour that out upon you every single chance I get. That's one of the things I was trying my best to do tonight, is connect the dots to your pain and then helping you understand what it is that you need to heal. Sedona is healing. Some people call it magical. I don't use them words. Sedona is healing. And I know, because I've been and I've had an encounter, and I knew that I would host a retreat there. I want you to go to the website, go check out what it is we're doing. When I tell you, this is going to be life-changing. It will catapult you to the next level of your life. And not only am I bringing therapists to the table, but I'm bringing coaches to the table. We can't live our lives constantly processing trauma and not having outlets when we're triggered. You think you ain't never going to be triggered again just because you healed? Ha! Lies. So I'm bringing my fitness coach to the table. She does yoga, weight training, these different things that she's going to help you with. Then I'm bringing, she used to be my dance coach in Atlanta. She used to work at Gotta Dance. And I love what she does. She does African dance and Latin dance, boutique yoga. She's going to bring that to the table. You got to have other outlets. Then I have, Antonina. Antonia is coming from Insurrection. What am I talking about? Inception. She's coming from Inception. And coming from Inception, it's a mental health gym in Detroit, Michigan. She does trauma release exercises. It's tension and trauma release. It has been the thing that has made the difference in my healing journey in the last 6 months. It is a place where you learn to do these exercises. You lay on the floor and your body just automatically begins to release the trauma. When I tell you, all the difference. I got affirmation coaches and surrender coaches. I have things in place that you're not going to leave the same. And it's not the same type of retreat you've been to before. So go check out what we're doing. Register. If it is just something in your heart that you're like, I think I should be there. And if I can make a way, I'm coming. Let me know. Inbox me. The information to contact me is on there. Okay. We'll talk about why you need to be there. Know that I am here for you. I'm not just here reuniting fathers. I'm here to heal you so that you can be the best mother and the best father you could possibly be. I am here to help you heal so that you are not parenting your children from a deficit, from a depleted place. Bishop Jake said something so powerful, like, I can't pour out what was never poured into. Some of you are pouring out from a dry place. There's nothing to pour. Got to get you healed. Got to get you in a place where you're no longer coping with disorder, but you're living a life of order and success. And you can see yourself as successful. You know how many people who are in the space of loving or living the career and loving the career that they have, but don't see themselves as successful? Raise my hand to that one. I've just journeyed through that. So I'm going to get off of here. I'm grateful that I was able to do this tonight. I almost got back to my bad habit of not showing up. I am showing up. So I wish you guys an amazing night. Get involved with the Fatherless Generation Foundation, whether that's through volunteering. We need your money. We do need your money. We definitely do. COVID has impacted us in ways I cannot describe it, but we're still here and we're still moving forward and we're still growing. So I thank you for listening to me tonight, and I will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.